Thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Things Entrepreneur. I am your co-host, Jessica Myers.
And it's your boy, Errol J. Allen, and we shine the light on the blind side of entrepreneurship. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm living the dream. How you feeling?
I'm blessed and highly favored as always.
When I tell you, I'm so excited about our guests that we have today. When I tell you the last time they were here, they lit the room on fire, had an amazing dynamic conversation, and we are able to have it here again. Red pill, blue pill.
Yes, indeed.
Peace to the family.
How
Times
y'all
you gotta
feeling?
pop out and show ninjas.
That time.
Oh, we got to talk about that too.
That part.
Oh, we are doing amazing. It's a beautiful day. We are in a epic time period. You know, somebody DM'd me today and they said that you know, you're looking the best that you ever looked. I'm feeling the best that I've ever felt.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all the way up.
Awesome,
Right.
awesome. Open up real quickly. Just you know, let the people know what you guys going on, who you are, what you're about, just real briefly.
So briefly, this you are seeing the twin pillars, Brother Red Pill and Brother Blue Pill, aka Blue Pillar 44, Red Pillar 44, Rich Phil, and Pope Pablo. You know what I mean? And we are identical twins out of New York, currently residing in the ATL. Our brand is Know the Ledge. So the motto is KTL and the ATL.
Yes.
We've been in media for close to more than 20 years. You know what I'm talking about? Blue Pillar was an editor of Four Corners newspaper, a hip-hop editorial out of New York City that went global. And then we started Know the Ledge in 2009. We've been on the front lines, pushing the narrative, you know what I mean, pushing P and waking our people up, doing exactly what the Red Pill and the Blue Pill and the Matrix was able to do for the people, wake them up, open up their eyes. And we currently are living in our dreams right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you hinted towards something I want to talk about. I just want to get y'all's 2 cents.
Yes.
That good old beef that Mr. What was it, BBL Jersey they say it was?
Oh yeah, that beef that beef got cooked. That you know what I mean? We in the season of barbecues. Yeah, that beef right there is flame broiled.
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's been flipped a few sides. You know what I mean? They put that good old barbecue sauce on it.
Base on it. Yeah.
I would say the cherry on the top will be when that video drops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You didn't even get any visuals.
Yeah. What aspect
I just
of it
want
directly do you want to
I just want to know y'all's take on
dive
you know
into and delve into?
the build up to it, the responses, the music, just the knowledge, the lyrics in between, just you know dissecting it. 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
like Drake did surf. I'm not gonna say surf. So Drake did some stuff, but K-Dot stuff was surgical. I mean, triple entendres
Yes,
on top of triple, quadruple. I'm just like Jesus.
Well, let's first off point out to the fact that he was able to accomplish all of that without being seen.
Right.
Have to remember, he said he was the boogeyman, right? He didn't do this on film. You never saw him. You only saw him at the concert, right? And he is showing you the in so many ways, it speaks to the times that we're in right now, the mentality, and also you know what the changing of the guard that we're seeing, where people who are superficial, the people who don't take, who are in the way, who don't take time off. Those who are always in front of the camera, those who are always on the internet, those people who, you know what I mean? These people who people are getting tired of versus those who fall back and work on themselves, who are doing the true spiritual work, who are out the way, who are off the grid, you know what I mean? Who are raising families and whatnot, perfecting their craft, you know what I'm saying? But then they get called, you fell off, you not lit, you ain't at the spot, you not on the couch with us. At 40 years old, popping bottles, you know, stuff like that. You know, he's showing what growth in hip hop means. We're in the 50th year of hip hop currently. You know what I mean? We still here. August the 12th or the 11th is when it culminates to the 51st, but we're still in the 50th. So it was a profound changing of the guards. He got dethroned. It wasn't just a rap battle. It was a shift, a paradigm shift. That's what we all witnessed. People are in denial about it, but denial is a river in Egypt. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. So
Denial.
we watched a convergence point where he, like he said, true artistry came up from the basement, right? And it took on big box corporation, you know, machine supported artistry, right? And they're both forms of artistry. This is not to take away from the level of artistry that Aubrey makes. You feel me? But at some point, you know, and I've been in a situation. I've worked in corporate. I've been approached by corporate. You know what I'm saying, to make decisions that would have been compromising of my own character in exchange for finances or, you know, access to leverage or things of that nature.
Yep.
So, and that has been called out the last 2 or 3 projects of Drake's. Specifically, the last one that we saw in public was when Joe Budden was like, you know, it's just not hitting, it's not biting. It sounds like you're making forced music for a desired demographic that is consistent with what the corporations feel, you know, is like, this is your market. This is the demo that we're targeting.
Right.
You feel me? And to geo-target your movie, your music or your product specifically for a designated desired audience, we understand that that's business, you know. But when how do you when the product's supposed to be integrity, and the business doesn't respect integrity, they just respect the bottom line, then that's the quagmire. So I think that,
Can I add on real quick?
wait, I think that Drake put himself in a situation where it was very hard to wiggle out of, because now you are, you know, you're tethered to the people who are cutting those checks. They're
Right.
making lifelong investments. They made a $400 million investment in him. So just, again, us as entrepreneurs, we know that at the minimum they want to 3x that investment.
Yeah.
So they have to see a $1.2 billion return over a scaled amount of time for it even to make sense.
Right.
So these are business decisions that are being made. Whereas, you know, we can't look at, you know, K-Dot is not he's not an underground artist. He's not a backpack artist. He's not a basement artist, but he's an artist. And that artist, you know, has an aspect of integrity where he's like, yeah, I pop out every now and then because I'm working on art. You know what I'm saying? And I can't force my art. And my art ain't for everybody. It's not big box. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Not data-driven.
Customized. It's specific to a particular core audience that I serve. And the fact that I serve this core audience and I am, you know, I don't pivot from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gives what he's supposed to give, and he's grown with that audience. And even though it's a core audience, they're supporting him as an artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas Drake had a core audience, but sometimes you could become too big. You feel me?
Yep.
And you start losing sight of that particular core when you start bleeding into these other areas.
Drifting away.
So they're like, yeah, try this genre out, try that genre out. Let's see how we can format and fit you. You know what I'm saying? Because the corporation is just looking to scale.
Mm-hmm. They're
Right.
looking to get that
So-
3X.
They're looking to get that 3X at a minimum, right? So we're looking at that being played out between individuals who represent corporate interests, whereas one is like, you know, I'm a boutique theater over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm an independent studio, but we still make big budget, like A24 did Civil War and things of that nature. You know, these smaller studios that can make a blockbuster, but it's not $100 million budget movie.
Yep.
Whereas you making $100 million budget movies, but they could still flop.
That's right. And the analytics that these corporations follow these days, the reason why Drake lost his core audience, and the reason why Joe Budden and other people are saying the music is going backwards, because it literally is, because as his core audience grew, he went backwards to attend to the 17 to the 25-year-olds. That's why there's collaborations with Sexy Red.
Yeah.
That's why there's collaborations with 21 Savage, Little Baby, and all of these young artists who have that demographics in their hands and whatnot. And the people who grew up with him from the mixtapes and whatnot since 2010,
Yeah.
the same core audience that's following J. Cole and Kendrick, they're like, you abandoned us, bro. You went
Yeah.
back to the popcorn stuff and you started talking to teenagers. But as we can see in the music industry, I think every 7 years they turn the clocks back and they appeal to these teenagers who are the preferred demographics because of their expendable incomes. They're not going through the same type of, recessions and inflation that adults are having. So they're getting pitched to. They're the impressionable ones.
Yep.
And he has become the quote unquote marquee artist for that generation. And what we saw on display was a rapper versus an MC. An MC is a master of ceremony. So we saw Hip Hop Inc. versus Higher Infinite Power Healing Our People, which is true hip hop. The 5 pillars of hip hop: art, dance, MCing, DJing, and the knowledge, right? Those 5 pillars were on display about a week ago in LA at the Forum. So, yeah.
But even as far as what you were saying, as far as corporations, isn't it something where their beef, at least for one, it didn't get like the beast back in the day? It was like, we coming to take you out. But wasn't it to improve the industry and bring attention back to hip hop?
It got violent.
It benefited, it served both purposes. I just recall that when Drake had a beef with Meek Mill, that was the very first time that I saw corporate involvement. I won't say interference, like KFC was putting up posts. They was taking digs and things of that nature.
Right.
I just remember seeing all of the tweets from major corporations that was like, we're tuned into this. So, which meant what? They was looking at it like business. You know what I'm saying? So corporations are figuring out a way to attach themselves to a conversation to leverage what? The attention.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
I'm part of this conversation. I'm going to be mentioned. Don't matter how dirty it could potentially get, because they know what this stuff means, right? Rap beef means that, hey, somebody can potentially die.
No, for real.
Right? That's the precedent that has been set when it comes to this. But they're going to ride the wave, you know what I'm saying, as long as they can before it crashes.
That's a fact.
And then, cowabunga, they'll jump off the surfboard when they need to, if it indicates that it may get to a particular space and a place. But I think that he had something to say about.
We were not in the attention economy during the times of Biggie and Pac. We were not in the attention economy. Liar Cohen got on the Breakfast Club and said that your eyeballs is the new currency.
Right.
The attention. So there's no such thing as, as Blue said, with these corporations that are looking at this situation, they saw they were looking at the analytics. They were looking at the numbers, and it did get violent. Somebody could have got clipped in both situations, at the Weeknd's house and at Drake's house. Like, imagine if Adonis was outside playing when they pulled up and sprayed the Draco, But it did go there and whatnot. It did go there and whatnot. It had its tenets of that.
Yeah. And I think this is violent on a different level.
Yeah.
Because I think that we're looking at it won't be the first time, but this is the unprecedented destruction, destabilization of a brand.
Right.
And I think that the fallout from that is going to look violent in the culture, because it's going to have a lot of different ramifications. People are switching over. When you change what's cool, that leaves a lot of people in the cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that that's kind of like, it may potentially, I'll see it between the fan base first, because there's a level of zealotry in this particular battle that I haven't seen before.
Right.
When it comes to, there's a lot of delusion, which means that I'm like, people are being set up for, it's gonna be a crash. Like, you'll probably see depression and stuff in some of these young. These are their heroes. These are people that they have patterned their lives after. Like, he lost, but he's still the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Where?
where and how you're not listening to the implications of what's being said. You know what I'm saying? Because if an iota of it is true, then that's potentially career ending. And then a person is going to have to reevaluate themselves to say, was I taking, tips, and was I taking you know what I'm saying, like
Orders
and lifestyle advice from someone, you know what I'm saying, who may potentially,
Lord.
you know, be flawed in their decision making. So as if Generation Alpha and X and things of that nature did not have enough issues with identity, to have enough issues with their confidence in terms of being assertive to say, I made these decisions based on X, Y, and Z, and I'm willing to stand on it. They're very flip-floppy already. So if you pull a rug from underneath them and give them an excuse to fall back to say, I got to reevaluate, do things over, I don't feel comfortable or confident in coming outside and popping out today because I can't show ninjas. It could potentially become an environment that's very hostile for people who have already showed a tendency to be fragile.
Facts.
Okay.
Because I thought it was a huge thing to unify, the gangs that he was able to bring together on the stage. I thought that was a huge moment. I was like, is this his Bob Marley moment?
It is for him.
Yeah.
His ascension is something totally that we're seeing someone go all the way up and we're seeing someone come all the way down.
Yeah.
And that normally is when battles happen, right? Damage can happen that's irreparable. MC Shan never recovered. Meek Mill never recovered.
That's a fact.
And although people say that, Jay-Z did whatever Jay-Z did, we can see and we've seen, the clear identifiable signs that, you can lose a battle and you can lose a war.
Yeah. That
Because,
changed the trajectory forever.
It's dealing with longevity, it's dealing with a timeline, and you'll be scrutinized for the remainder of your career. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was listening to somebody's podcast and they was just like, if Drake just comes outside and bumps his head, or, you know what I'm saying, let alone, Lord forbid us to get hit by, whatever happens that is not good fortune is going to be attributed to the boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
Forever.
Right.
So it's just a quagmire of a situation, and people should really take this as a learning lessons, right? Because it's a dichotomy, like you said, we're looking at this and we're looking at it through the lens that things have happened in the past that have been violent, right? But then we're ignoring the fact that there's a whole genre of hip hop that's dedicated to violent escalations when it comes to beefing that often result in people losing their lives.
Yeah.
Facts.
So the audience is already primed to see beef turn into red meat.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What they do.
It's what they do. And the children have literally been raised on this. They don't know nothing else.
Yep.
So they're like, it's not real until it's real.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, hopefully it doesn't get there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate. I just wanted to get y'all's take in the situation. So let's shift. Let's shift on red pill, blue pill. How did you guys, before you get the names, who were you all? What was y'all into before the names and everything came with?
Sure, you want to know that?
I mean, we shine the light on the blind
course.
side.
Before I was red pill, I was Phil Figure or Fillmore, and prior to that, I was Twin. So we've had many different.
Prior to that, it was Wisdom.
Yeah, that was my graffiti name, Wisdom.
Are you doing graffiti?
Yeah, he was
Oh, nice.
Felony. We used to tag up the subway stations,
Oh, no.
but not the train though. I wasn't one of those.
Yeah, I ain't go to the
I
yards,
didn't go to the
but
train yard.
I was we were
Alright,
mesmerized by it.
But
So
we
Marta,
was,
leave
we
him
was
alone.
traumatized by Ramon and Spit.
Yeah.
From the video, from the movie, they had Ramon and Spit, and one of them died on the third rail and
Yeah, we was
whatnot.
traumatized from
He was traumatized, so that stopped a lot of people's graffiti aspirations. They just
Yeah.
decided to break dance and whatnot when we was younger. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna just be a DJ. You niggas out here dying for graffiti.
Right. It ain't like all these blank walls.
All these blank.
Yeah, I ain't need to focus on no train.
Y'all ever done like
overlooking-
parkour or anything like that? No.
Parkour?
Yeah. No.
I haven't done parkour. I've done
Just curious.
parkour in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were into the apparel business back in the days.
Yeah,
I call it
retail
cotton-
reparations.
Cotton reparations.
Yeah, retail reparations.
Yeah, retail reparations. Back in the days in Flatbush, we from Brooklyn, Flatbush, Brooklyn. We were definitely part of the earlier hip hop. I would say the late 80s, early 90s and whatnot, with the rise of the, just the street life and whatnot.
The contingency of hip hop that was responsible for stamping style and fashion
Right.
in New York and Brooklyn in particular, we were involved with that. You know what I'm saying? We took up that particular mantle. So we were always like popular and famous amongst our peer group in the streets because of our fashion choices, our boldness, how we utilize fashion as statement.
Yep.
And we also were utilizing fashion at that time as culture. We grew up in a household where we were taught our culture. Yep. Our father's a professor of African American literature, but he was the first one to introduce us to polo because he used to dress preppy to throw them folks off that he was working with. And he was just like, yeah, y'all gonna wear what I wear. And then we went to school with the polo on, and then we got a totally different response and reception. Was we like, oh, y'all into this like that? I was just doing it for my father.
So then later on, we got into modeling.
Yeah, then we did the modeling.
Yeah,
thing.
they kind of like, was like, yo, y'all should do this modeling thing. And we began getting managed by Mike Tyson's sister. Her name is Jackie Rowe.
Shout out to Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie Rowe was real big in Brooklyn and Flatbush at that time. She was major in terms of her networking and her connections and stuff like that. So
she was like the Griselda of Brooklyn.
She was like Griselda of Brooklyn. She is like Griselda of Brooklyn, but back then, definitely.
Right. So her respect level and the doors that she was able to open, was amazing. Everybody felt like they owed her a favor or they couldn't tell her no. So she was able to insulate us and bring us into that world, and we were able to look from the outside looking in, the horrors and the pitfalls and the trappings without directly being involved. Like, damn, look what's happening. You need some management, shit.
Right. So back then, in the street and in the streets were kind of like marrying one another around that time. We talking like 97, 98. So that whole industry and in the streets, it was merging. You know what I mean? It was blending and whatnot. So people from our generation that we actually were in the clubs and the school, they started becoming executives, A&Rs, and power players and whatnot. Being with Jackie, it was like we had a skeleton key in New York. All doors were opened up.
Right.
And we started taking our show on the road, coming to Miami, coming to Atlanta. Right. Blue's first time in Atlanta is 96. My first time is 97 and whatnot. I was actually there. No, I don't know.
I was like, well, it ended in 96. I think that was the last one.
Yeah, it was the last one.
I came down trying to catch it. It was too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean? I'm a true
highway
ATL.
right outside there.
You know what I mean? 166 at Greenbrier, top down.
And
hold on now.
So,
I grew up over in Big Hill.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure this out. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I had never seen melanated people in a concentrated place like that before. I didn't know that they had melanated. I'm looking at I'm like, you from Missouri? They got black folks out there?
Right.
Like, what are you talking to? Like, I ain't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is my introduction to the regional melanated diversity of who and what we are.
But it started, the seeds were being planted in Hampton, in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Right? We were going to what they call the
Greek Fest and all of that out there.
No, the homecomings.
The homecomings, but also their Greek
and
Fest.
their Greek Fest.
Morgan State,
right?
Howard, Norfolk, Hampton.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because those of us on the East Coast, our Freaknik was the Greek Fest.
Oh, yeah.
You feel me? Yes, we would follow them.
Yeah.
Philly had the crazy Greek Fest. Jones Beach and New York had the crazy Greek Fest. Wow. So it was given what Freaknik was given, but on a collegiate scale. And these were black colleges and whatnot showing out. Yes. You know what I mean? We saw Biggie performing, Nas performing.
All of that.
So all of them during those days.
But getting down here, seeing the diversity, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
in the baddies.
and even in the midst of all of that, right? Because you go places with concepts, and I had this concept of Southern hospitality, and you hear things, and you like, but I experienced it in '96. When I got down here, there was, I forgot exactly where we was at. It was somewhere near Lenox though, but it was like maybe it was a hood over there or something, a housing situation. Because I remember it was a pimp, and he had the door open. But you know what I'm saying? We were so fashionable and flashy with our stuff. He's like, man, come on in. We gonna cook for you. I got some hoes over here.
You got everything you need.
I was just like, yo, this is Southern hospitality 2X. Like, I had no idea. And we was like, we being set up. Because we from New York, so we not used to people.
So
we don't trust
right.
nothing. We like, they got their doors open. They're nice.
Right.
We're distrustful of that.
Right.
It's suspect. Like, we got to run a whole investigation. What they want.
Right.
You know, you got them things on click. You got them blickers click. So it's like, nah, you don't need none of that. Family, you dig what I'm saying? It's for real.
Yeah.
We really cooking for you. Mm-hmm. You really got to invite. You really could leave a pistol outside. Like, we're not going to do anything. We really want to know who you are as a person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's good? So just the dialogue factor of me being able to go somewhere that's different, but I could walk away with an education. I can be valued as a person as well. I fell in love with Atlanta, and I never stopped coming back, you know?
Right.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so let's freeze frame right there at that point in time in life. What's some like business attributes, lessons, things that you've picked up to, help, on your journeys as you're going through with the modern fashion and everything that you guys had going on at that time?
Again, we were street entrepreneurs at the time, but it was entrepreneurship nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right.
So customer service, you find out, our customer service is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can physically get something done to you if you're either skimming on the product, skimming on the service, making promises that you don't keep. You feel me?
Right.
So the aggressive nature of being taught these things makes you a better entrepreneur / business person. You know what I'm saying? When you decide to level it up and do something that's more quote unquote integral, for lack of a better word.
Because we had a unique business model. Those of us who were selling brand new sweaters half price, right?
Yep.
We were selling to people who were selling to people, if that makes any sense.
Wholesale.
No.
The distributor.
We were selling clothes to drug dealers, and the clothes were like drugs to drug dealers. Like, I never got involved in dealing drugs, but we were having drug dealers and strippers act like these were drugs because we had designer. You feel me? So we had a power position over drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes, strippers, and everything, because one thing that they were doing, all of what they were doing to do, was to get some clothes.
Yeah.
That was,
Right.
we're talking about, when people's aspirations weren't what they are now. So it wasn't like, yo, I'm working on getting this house out in Buckhead. Like, they was like, I'm trying to get right so I could go to 112.
Yeah.
Facts.
Feel me? I'm trying to get fly
That
this
was their
whole
goals.
weekend. That was their goals. So we had what they needed. So they treated us with a certain type of reverence and whatnot, because we were all part of this underworld society and everybody respected one another. We were in Atlanta when people were dying, but they were not killing, if that makes any sense. Like, niggas die every day, B, but they were not killing out here. They were not lining you up. They were not trying to rob and steal. They didn't have degeneracy at such a level that they may have it at now.
He still has Southern hospitality.
They still had Southern hospitality. You could walk into a hotel room and the door's wide open and it's money laying all around, jewelry and everything, and it wasn't nothing. There was no scheming. There was no malice and whatnot. So we were like Blue said, street life with a Southern hospitality attached to it. You cannot get that where we're from. We never saw that. You know what I mean? So we were enamored by it. One of the things that helped propel both me and him into a better place was some of our customers respected what it is that we were doing, and they wanted to elevate us. So they tapped me and Blue to become stylists, right? And they graduated us from going into department stores to actually going into sample clearance sales and going into the studios where the clothes were actually, showrooms and whatnot. We're walking out of there with bags with no holes in the neck. You know what I mean? We didn't have to pop. No ink stains on the shirt. Yeah. Like it was for real. And we're meeting the designers, we're meeting the owners of, academics back when it was a clothing brand, A. Tiziano, LRG, and
Christian Gauthier. I was looking at my Facebook memories the other day, and it was June 25th is the day that Michael Jackson died, which was June 25th, 2009. But my Facebook memory was showing me that he made a partnership June 25th, 2008 with
Wow.
Christian Gauthier.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
MJ?
Yeah.
Wow.
But on that date.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I met this designer. We done work with them. Just expanding our repertoire, and it was expanding our vision. Because I remember we went to do a modeling gig.
Oh man.
And
Miami, that one, the South Beach.
yeah, the person that was now in charge of the Macy's, he was now Macy's executive making these pivotal decisions. He was once head of security. We called him Big Ruddy or Big Russian. And he was like, I know who it's like, them niggas, they not modeling our shit. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting them in no catalog. We're not putting them on stage. So we got penalized for our past. You know what I'm saying? It was all fun and games when you was doing it as a child, playing cops and robbers with the security and the police. But growing up, it kind of, we got penalized for our previous lifestyle. So to be able to reform ourselves and to cross into an area of legitimacy, because we still like fashion, we still loved fashion, the artistic expression that comes with it, the ability to tell your story and to tell your history, the authenticity factors that come along with self-expression. These were things that we cared a lot about. We value that. And I think we walked the very first show for Rockefeller.
Nice.
We were supposed to. Thankfully, we didn't get the Sean John gig.
Yeah, thank God.
Because I remember we met, because, again, these are all Jackie's peoples, and they have a high level of respect and reverence for her.
Right.
And then, she would just get him out to Mike's crib in Connecticut before before there was Diddy parties, there was Tyson parties.
Tyson barbecues.
And, yeah, we'll leave that for another show. But I remember she had stopped Puff. We was going in the club. And she was like, yeah, I'm trying to get them in the show. And he was like, all right, so he could be Sean and he could be John. And she was like, nah,
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So my first client as a stylist was Hernando Perez, a.k.a. Pitbull. We were there when Pitbull got signed to TVT.
Wow. His
manager is one of our day ones, Big Teach, out of Miami. And they was like, yo, we going to fly you down to Miami and set you up right there. I was living right on 20th, right off of Collins and whatnot, in a building ran by Cubans. And Pitbull's Cuban. Wow. So he put me up in the Cuban building 2003. And I lived out there till 2005. And I was doing his styling. I learned how to do merch and everything. I didn't know how to make clothes at all. I did not even know how to put a design on a t-shirt. There's no internet back then. There's no books on how to do, this was a time when you had to literally learn from mouth to ear. So the first day I went into a factory in Hialeah and I saw how they were doing silk screening and heat pressing and everything. I was completely blown away. I had no idea of the process of manufacturing. So I got put on to that, and I went to the magic show in Las Vegas. Ooh. That's what changed everything. I went to the magic show, and it was over after that. I made a decision inside of the magic show. I actually met the mother of my son at the magic show.
So it was very magical.
It was very magical. Yeah, magical,
So it's crazy because, again, like you said back then, internet, AI, all that stuff was not a factor. But now, today, that's literally like common talk. Like you could say Google AI pretty much hand in hand.
Yes. Yeah.
One thing I noticed with both you guys, I want you to talk about it because I know you guys are obviously big providers and users of AI and, getting ahead with that. Yes. But I noticed both you guys walked in and had your phones light up against the mic. You guys got like an AI thing recording or doing something right now that you're going to... I'm just curious if there was some play behind it. Is, see, I figured.
Yeah. I mean, content is king.
Yep.
So,
So let's talk about it. I mean, the average person wants to get into AI because, again, I'm not gonna say it's new, but it's still relatively, fresh.
Of course.
But there are people who just, aside from knowing AI and the letters, they don't know where to start, where to go, what to get into, open C, this, that, the third. What do I do?
I mean, they made it very simple. I call it there's a trifecta, right? There's a 3-pack Shakur.
3-pack.
There's a 3-pack
Not
Shakur.
a 2-pack.
And it would be Midjourney, right? For all things artistic, all things graphics. It would be Chat GPT 4.0. The new one is free. It's available on. I just downloaded it on my Macintosh, my Mac computer. So it's for free on your Mac. It's a desktop, so I could literally summon it with my space bar, right? And the other one I would say would be Claude.
Yeah, I like Claude.
Okay.
I would say for the intellectuals amongst us who want to get real, it's a script writer. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very, very practical.
Right. Even though they've been sharing with me as well, Anthropic.
No, it's the same. That's
Oh,
Claude.
yeah, Claude.
Claude?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Claude's parent. Because, I mean, you guys have always been relatively ahead of the curve, like you said, in fashion and on technology and off technology. How is it, or what do you see as the next big thing? Because I know one of the things you talked about is the next nation is like imagination. And really being able to take the power of your ideas now. Because like you said, you were blown away by what you saw in that factory. But knowing now that AI can do that in seconds, what is like on the cusp of the next big thing? 3
things. Automation, right? The ability to have AI intercede in your business, right? Automated, though. The automatic, like if somebody leaves a comment, they get a link, right? So that now cuts down what may have taken 15 to 30 minutes, right? So the automation aspect is going to be huge. Also, another thing, once Sora, because we already have Luna that dropped, but once Sora is released and people could now take their imagination and tell stories, the hundreds of stories that did not get greenlit by Hollywood are coming.
Oh, wow.
The thousands of ideas that somebody, let's just say a teenager or, someone is 7 or 8 years old, they could now produce they could produce an animated film. They could produce a cartoon now. They could produce a full-length film.
Right.
So,
and it's those things that we overlook until technology comes and then they make it a focal point and then we pay a lot of attention to it. Case in point, when I went to school for journalism in the 90s, and I didn't graduate going to school to journalism, but I still ended up, landing a gig as a journalist in 2001. And by 9 months in, I was an editor-in-chief of a newspaper.
Wow.
So I kind of knew, or I was learning on the job. I'm not going to say that I all the way knew that I was doing, but I had a passion to learn.
And experience is the best teacher.
Yeah. Yes. All of my friends was gigging on me. You know what I'm saying?
what you doing?
Me? Who does that? A reporter?
Right.
And
A
then
journalist?
Right.
What are you talking about? Who does that? Like, you was a whole booster out here. You was a model. You was, I did a lot of things prior to that people applaud. But when I became a journalist, I was looked at kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, damn, what's wrong with son? He all right? Somebody spoke to him lately? And I'm like, I'm out here I'm storytelling. That's what the hell? Like, we need storytellers. Like, I'm a reporter. I'm telling the news. Nobody needs the news. And they like, that's just not what we do. It's not cool.
Right.
Fast forward today.
That's everything we need.
Everybody's a journalist.
Yes.
Right? Microjournalist. I started out blogging. I vlogged. I mean, I did it all. Anything that you could think of in a realm of journalism from 2000 and on, I was at the forefront. And when I say forefront, I mean I was the early adopter of it, and then I might have moved on. Like, I had a YouTube channel January 1st, 2007, the same day I opened my Facebook account. Nobody was on there. I didn't know nobody that was doing YouTube at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't that at Jackie's house?
It was at Jackie's house. Yeah. This is probably when it was like 5-minute uploads or stuff like that, even before 15
grainy
minutes.
videos.
But I leveraged my YouTube to get 1 million views by 07 or like by the end of 07, and then I had an incident in Harlem with the NYPD where I had to just give the block a chill for a minute. I go downtown, meet with a friend. He introduced me to one of his friends. His friends needed some camera work. Come to find out, he's like, yeah, I got an artist that needs, production and documentation, and that artist was Nipsey Hussle. So I find myself landing a gig with Sony Epic in 2008 where they hire my company as the first online media company in the music industry because they didn't know the internet. And here I go with 1 million+ views on YouTube.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And they like, shit, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you got these views. So I was able to leverage that, you know what I'm saying, and into a very respectable situation and able to help that young man get his career off the ground.
In a major way.
Yeah. So all of that being done, right, just to get to where we're at today with AI and then to read and research everything that they're saying about AI, for them to come out and say, oh, the most powerful thing amongst people is storytelling.
Right.
Right? And they're utilizing this to sell ChatGPT and the rest of these particular modalities of AI or machines that they got. And they're like, by far, right, storytelling is it all. Yeah. Because Midjourney will give you the pictures for it. ChatGPT will give you the prompting for it. Sora will make it into a movie. And then these places will distribute it. Everything is built around storytelling.
Right.
But do we know that? Are we telling our children that?
No.
Are we preferencing them to say, yo, you're an artist, you're a rap artist, but you're really a storyteller.
Yeah. Really a storyteller.
Right? And that's where your strength is at.
Right.
And these are this is the vocation of storytellers. These are the agencies that protect storytellers. These are the unions. You're part of you're part of an ancestral legacy. You're a griot.
Right.
We don't tell them that.
Records. No, we don't.
We snub our nose at them. Like, you don't got nothing else to do other than dance on TikTok.
Right. We say you're a product of your environment, and I can only talk about what I see. Whereas everybody around the world is tapping into their imagination, and they are projecting, they're projecting a world that they want to see. So the third thing that I have to say the AI is going to bring is the AI agents, right? So it will be automation on steroids. Right, I'll be able to wake up and say, I got $1,000. I want to flip it into $10,000. Show me, and there'll be an apparatus.
Go find a way.
Go find a way, and there'll be AI working. There'll be different agents and whatnot working my money while I'm doing other things and whatnot. Or I might upload a PDF script, and I'll tell the agents by the end of the day, I want a novel, I want a short film. Right. Generated, and I want you to feed this to my faceless YouTube channel. I want to have 20 different shorts out of this script that I just put together. The AI probably wrote and whatnot. So we're looking at something. Do you remember the show Boss Baby, the movie Boss Baby? Yeah. That reality is amongst us. That the children, the babies will be able to boss up. With AI, you're going to see 2-year-old millionaires and 10-year-old billionaires. Mark my word.
Wow.
Like, just case in point, like I was at my my community pool, in my complex yesterday. And I'm on my tablet and I'm on the phone and I'm doing all this business. And they got these children in the pool and they're like 9 and 10. And I'm overhearing and I'm just like, they're out of school. They're enjoying themselves. Their parents is over there just doing what they're doing in the shade. And I start overhearing a conversation that they're having with one another. And he's like, yeah, but you're a video programmer and, you know what I'm saying? But they like, yeah, but you write code and you create. And I'm like.
Right, babies.
I'm like.
Straight up.
He's 10. And this child is writing code that's creating games. The other children are playing because I can tell that the little kid, he was like, he got a MAGA hat somewhere in his closet. He was one of them children, because he was quoting history that was inaccurate, but he was so aggressive with it. You know
Loud
what I
and
mean?
wrong.
Right? Huh?
Loud and wrong.
Loud and
and
wrong.
wrong.
And
Strong.
he was the alpha amongst his peer
His
group.
group,
So
yeah.
you
Right.
could see how he was entraining their brains into. So I'm like, this is how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see his daddy. I can see who's filtering this information to him. But he had this persona, and then he's now taking this information and creating it in a digital realm where he's making product out of it, and then draining and training his core audience with this information that's going to change how they see the world. And I'm like, damn, look at this. These is little babies getting the drop. You know what I mean?
But it's interesting that you brought Trump up, because Trump was the president who came in and altered reality as we know it. Remember fake news, all of this alt stuff.
Yeah, the alt.
So he's the president.
schism.
Yeah, the schism. He's the president that will alter reality in real time. You know what I mean? He'll tell you that the sky is green, and everybody will be like, it's green, right? With a straight face, you know what I'm saying? And then he'll be assertive about it. So his demographics and his followers and whatnot, they've been able to change history. They've been able to, quote unquote, they know that history is malleable, right?
Yes.
So they've even enacted laws to prevent certain other type of history coming into the schools and things of that nature, because they're busy saying, no, we're gonna rewrite it in our image.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He
The
showed
way
them,
that works for us.
Yep.
He showed them. He gave
showed
them
them the key.
permission to say you can rewrite history in a lifetime, stand on business, right, and just be, just deny all reality, and eventually they'll pivot. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you will no longer be called crazy, because you'll have enough people. They just created echo chambers.
Echo chambers, right?
Right. You have enough people that agree with you to say that the sky is green. That, you know what I mean?
Everybody
and then
adapts.
Yeah,
and
we
then
just
when
gonna
we
live in
get
our
in
bubble.
power, we'll go and kill off them other guys that still think that it's
Right.
blue.
We'll persecute the blues.
Sounds like religion.
Well, it's
Politics.
Orson Welles. It's a lot of
It's
these.
Orwellian,
It's Orwellian. You know what I mean? It's an Orwellian dystopian type of reality that we're currently in.
Yeah.
And these people have radicalized one another, and they're utilizing the tools of the media and the new media, and also this quote unquote, you got to remember his base is white men in despair, right? So they're ready to believe anything.
Right.
You feel me?
And they're ready to ride.
And he knows the words to say. He's speaking to their despair. He's an aspiration, right? The MAGA hat, the whole Make America Great, that's aspiration. We're going to be number one. We're going to get our birthright up. We're going to do this. We're going to be the superpower again. They're aspiring. So once you have people blind and drunk on aspiration, they will do anything as long as you say this is for the goal.
Right. So that we're looking at a new business model, right? This is all things entrepreneurship. This is he has introduced to them,
Right.
A new business model. He's just wrapped life and everything else inside of it.
He's telling a great story, per se.
Oh, man.
It still boils down to a great story.
Because he's a billionaire. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
On and the illusion. They were
And the alternative.
Yeah, and the alternative and what the Democrats were trying to do. See, look at his taxes. He's not one. That does not fly with his base. He is the billionaire prospect that everybody has to quote unquote look for. You got people in rural shanty towns and trailer parks and everything. They're looking at this billionaire who they've known all their life to be on top.
Right. It's too late. It's
too late.
For us, you're gonna tell us that?
Yeah.
Hip hop was aspirational to be Donald Trump. I grew up in New York City.
That's a fact.
That
With
was
Trump Towers.
he was the guy. He was the
he's Bruce
aspiration.
Wayne
He was
for
the
us.
Nadar
Yeah.
that you aspired to. You know what I'm saying? They gave Diddy and them the reins to do the parties. They was doing them first in them penthouses.
That's a
So
fact.
and we knew that. We knew that, when you ascend past this level, if you're partying with them, you made it. Ain't nothing nobody can tell you. So for people to thumb their nose and to be less than honest now about it, because once again, he does not fit into your political scope of things. that's being disingenuous.
Very disingenuous.
And we're not going to be able to counter, right, the spell if we are dealing with denial.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not the river in Egypt either.
No.
You was going to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So on a complete side note, take away everything, resources, everything that you guys have today,
Yeah.
and you was to start your path back to get into where you are right now. What would your guys' journey look like? How would you do it?
OnlyFans. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the road running, brother. Nah. If you take everything away, if you strip it all away, right? As long as we have our minds left, as long as we have our imagination, right? As long as we have that, because naturally we're both trained artists. Like we're crazy with the pen, with the pencil, with the marker. I will create my way out of poverty. I will pull myself out of poverty through creation. It doesn't matter where you put me. You know what I mean? You could sit me down for 100 years. You could take my hands away. It doesn't matter at this point in the game. Because I was sharing with somebody the power of AI and the revolutionary or the evolutionary aspects to it. It has evolved to a place where you could be illiterate, right? You don't need to know English. You don't even need hands anymore because throughout history, man was able to feed himself through his hands, right? But now you could just talk into a microphone and prompt something to come through on the screen. You know what I mean? It could be broken English. You don't have to learn. You don't need to know how to read and write at this point with technology. You could literally say it in a broken English way and it will still prompt it out. You feel me? So, like you just have to think your way into prosperity now.
And so I find it very interesting because I'm a proponent of too much of anything could not be a good thing, right?
Yes.
So we have AI, automation, all this stuff happening. What's the con? What are we losing in place of
so much.
Yeah, we're losing humanity.
That's what I was saying.
So much.
Eventually, we're not going to be able to make a sandwich. That's how.
But I mean,
Yes.
again,
You get AI talking to AI.
Yeah, that's already happening. Again, that's with the AI agents, and that's why it's so effective.
Right.
Because they don't have to talk to people.
Right.
Right? So now this is the litmus test. This is the pinnacle moment. You know what I'm saying? This is the auditing of humanity. Humanity has to become audit because they created this machine and called it artificial intelligence without the Western world being able to provide you with a definition of intelligence.
Right. They don't
even know what intelligence is according to them.
Yep.
They said scientifically, we don't even know what intelligence is. They said they don't have a definition for consciousness. They said they don't have a definition for light. They don't have a definition for intelligence. Now they playing stupid because the Western world, unlike the Eastern world, does not incorporate philosophies such as spirituality into their modality. If they can't scientifically prove it or geophysically locate it, they say it don't exist because they can't control it.
Right.
So they're not in the business of giving power to invisible forces and things of that nature. They have to be in control. Their game is domination, not dominion. Whereas the Eastern philosophy says just work on your inner self.
Right.
And the evidence of your domination will be through dominion. You can go into nature and the birds will sing back to you and, butterflies will come to you and, you know what I'm saying? You could talk to the sun. All of these things that require work.
Right.
On a physical level.
Right. Got to put in work.
Yeah, the Western world is not a proponent of that.
Right. They promote struggle.
Yeah, they purchase something.
Yeah, Eastern philosophy.
Yeah, purchase something. Get your bread up. Like they say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yep.
Right. And do hard work.
Right.
And that's how you do it. So yeah, we have allocated power and direction to people who have not qualified themselves to have so much power over us because they can't even give you operable definitions of the things that you need to survive here, right? Because it's based on dependency. Oh, you got to come to us if you need to know something.
Right.
Right? You can possibly figure it out on your own. Why? Because we never taught you critical thinking and methodology for you to go and figure it out. Our school is only about preparing you to come into the labor force to make somebody else rich.
Right.
They're not teaching us how to become entrepreneurs. They're not teaching us how to balance a checkbook.
None
They're
of
not
that was
teaching us
taught.
how to leverage or scale.
Yes, none of that
right?
was taught.
They're not teaching none of those things. So this is not the things that they prefer. But all of them have become, you work for somebody, so entrepreneurship was taught to somebody somehow for these people to be bosses.
Yep.
Right.
Right? So yeah, it's a quagmire
right.
that we're dealing with. Once again, we're dealing with the child that don't know what fire can do.
Ooh.
Right.
Right? And then we're following the child that's playing with fire that don't know what the fire can do.
Right.
That thinks that, I'll burn the village down to stay warm. That's
Right.
who we dealing with. That's who we are quote unquote following.
Right.
And this person does not, either you didn't think it out or your inability to see all the way down the road, you know what I'm saying, has now put us, in a very precarious situation because, the machine is going to figure some things out.
I see iRobot happening.
Right. Yeah.
Just
AI,
point blank.
right.
I just see
the
iRobot
machine,
happening.
the machine is just sitting back and is looking.
Right.
And it's gonna be
preparing,
like,
plotting, and we over
And
here
it's
like,
like,
life
right.
is easy.
Yeah.
And keep in
Y'all
mind,
is the biggest threat to y'all.
Right.
So I'm going to get y'all out the way.
and then we gonna
do
make
you a
this,
favor.
Do you a favor, right? So
Just
AI
can't do it for yourself.
is attached to a theology.
Mhm.
It's not a standalone. It's attached to transhumanism.
Yes.
It's attached to, man ultimately living to be an immortal.
Yeah.
Okay. It's attached to man cheating death and also aging and whatnot.
Yep.
There are,
There's companies that are already doing that,
Well,
slowing the aging process. And,
of course they are.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like Black Mirrors.
of course.
all that, yeah.
Ray Kurzweil, who would be considered the godfather of AI.
Yes.
He has 6 epochs that he basically has predicted. We're currently in the 4th of those epochs. And in the 6th epoch, it has man and mind connecting to the universe, by way of AI, but being almost omnipotent, omnipresent, and omnipotent, So if there were Antichrist, right? I'm not one of those biblical persons and whatnot, but if there were Antichrist in our day and age, it would be Machine City. It would be AGI, not AI as we know it now, but artificial general intelligence. That's when they say it will become conscious and whatnot and and begin to think for itself.
Yeah.
Sentinel. But this whole thing that we see is tied into, I call them the 4 pale horsemen. That would be Zuckerberg. That would be Musk. That would be Peter Thiel. And that would be Horowitz. He's the one who funds everything, right, through A16Z, which is one of the biggest, quote-unquote, funders or angel investors of all things technology. But they're all part of one conglomerate.
Shout out to Nas.
Right. And they play like they are not.
Investment, yeah.
Yeah, they play like they're against one another for the TV and whatnot. But as we speak right now, AI is at war. It is. It has already got into Skynet mode. It's called Gospel and Lavender, and I don't want to say too much for but it's already collecting data. It's already targeting people, and it's actually it's behind those drone attacks that we see, taking out families and things of that nature indiscriminately. So it's already showing that it's heartless, it's cold, and it's war. It's a war machine, right? As we speak, not later on, not it has the possibilities. It's literally doing this right now. So yeah, it has a level of danger to it. The number one, what I would say, it's about the programmers at the end of the day. Programmers who look like us, programmers who think like us, programmers who have our best interests. They need to go ahead and deal with those open source models and whatnot, and begin to counter or to create something that that could be more beneficial, because all of those closed those closed models for profit stuff. Oh no, Trojan horse. Trojan horse.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, guys, I mean, go ahead.
I still wanted to touch on, a large part of, today, we know here in Atlanta, we have a political debate that is going on. And there is a lot in the political climate. This is an election year.
It is.
And knowing that there's so much up for grabs, and you talk about being a journalist, and a journalist is all about using your voice to tell the story.
Yes.
But it seems like they're trying to stifle that. They're trying to block that and shift that. Like, how do you use the power of technology and AI to still get our voices out there where on their platforms, it may be shadow banned, may be blocked. In their arenas, they may try to keep us out.
Yeah. Case in point, me and this young man, we launched a network on something called OTT, which is over the top. And what over the top is, it means it's going to stream. It's streaming over the top of the internet. So it's cable TV. It's just not running through cables. It's running through the internet. And it gives us the autonomy to say what we want the way that we need to say it.
Right.
And it's TV. You can pull it up on your Roku,
Apple TV, right.
Anywhere where where TVs are played. That's what we can do. So we was already mindful enough to know that this is a move that had to be made.
Right, especially in an election season.
Yeah, we're on a network called Connect to Your City TV, and Robert Kennedy has a channel there, right? And this way he used as an alternative to say, if I'm not going to be included, if I can't be inclusive in the particular debate, I still need an outlet.
Yeah.
And again, presidential debates is still going to come down to media assets. How can you get me in front of the desired demographics that I need? The eyeballs is the only thing that counts. So we're learning as many executives how, ad dollars work, and how, these packages that, because every political campaign is going to come around with a package, especially if you represent the desired demographic. So they're doing it in Atlanta because we represent a desired demographics. The Republicans can't do it without us, and the Democrats can't do it without us, but they don't want us there.
Yep.
Right.
Right? They're like, let us tell you what we're going to do or how we need you. But we don't need you in there telling us, because you guys might ask us about reparations or something like that, and we'll have an awkward moment on air. So politics is about political interests. You know what I'm saying? And if we're being designated by both political parties as susceptible bait, right? We're bloody red meat. You know what I'm saying? But we don't vote. We're looked at as a political bloc. We're looked at as a desired body politic. Yes. But what are our collectivized political interests? Has Black America ever had a conversation and said what it is that we want, so we can elect a representative that can go before these people and say, right, y'all got 30 million votes for you. You know what I'm saying? If you can produce X, Y, and Z. Because that's what everybody else lobbyists do. That's what designers
Where's
are
our
doing.
super PAC? Right. Where's our super PAC?
They just booked the dude,
Jamal
out of New York, representing the upper district of what's considered the Bronx going into Westchester. Now, if people know about New York demographics, you know what I'm saying, you kind of have an idea who that represents and who that doesn't represent. In New York, in Brooklyn in particular, the politics get real tethered because we share a lot of occupancy with those people. You know what I'm saying? And the only way that we can represent our people or the district that we all share is if you advocate for those people. Right? Because they got one hell of a bag, and they're unified, and they seem to understand politics in a way that, again, we still don't get it, even after however many different 4 years. It's like we haven't
just rewind the clock.
Yeah,
every 4 years on us.
After the last 4 years, we haven't decided to learn politics. What about the 4 years before that, which was 2016? That wasn't the moment.
Right.
What about the 4 years prior to that? Right. What about the 4 years prior to that? So it's like,
for us, because of the program, as the Blue is talking about with the Obama program, it's about who you feeling. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a dating show. They out here popping balloons and whatnot. Oh, I don't like Barry. Pop. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So it's not about who's beneficial. It's not about who's going to work. It's not about any of that. It's about who's attractive, right? Oh, I like her hair. Oh, she got pearls on. Shit, like real superficial type of things. But we never reached the levels of superficiality. It's the outside of that Obama run, right? That brought us, that locked us down for probably 20 more years. You know what I mean? Because we were so caught up into things that we had no business being caught up into. Oh, I like his wife. Look at her dress. Oh my goodness.
Literally, I literally read an article this morning where they said Michelle is not going on a campaign for the Bidens because she feels a way about Hunter divorcing the wife.
Wow.
Hunter left the wife to go with the widow of Bo, right? His brother who died from cancer.
Right.
So they're saying that because that's Michelle's best friend, yeah, crazy shit, right? And
Biden shit.
And the excerpts are saying that, you know, the Obamas would go to their house and see this stuff and be like, man, they on some weird shit. But then her best friend is the ex-wife of Hunter Biden's.
Right.
So she feels
she on their side.
Yeah, she's on their side. So, but still, so that means that you're putting your personal feelings before your one political party and two the country.
But why you had to do that during a voting year? You couldn't wait. Anyway, continue.
This is what I'm saying. But this is just the pettiness of politics that when you put power in a particular people's or person's hands, then they personalize it. Yep. And it's like, were you there for you or were you there for us? Were you there just in symbolism or were you there for effectiveness? Right?
And why are you still
right? Why are you still so ineffective when you said, oh, you know, when I was sitting in there, you know, I was worried about my family and everything. But it's like you're out of there now. Where's the effectiveness?
Yeah.
Where's the disruption?
Right.
Where's your ideas? Where's your thoughts? You know what I'm saying? Where's the tea at? Because Trump showed us that you don't need none of that stuff that you said that you needed.
Right.
If you got the gonads to go for it, you feel me? So it's like, yeah, we're looking at a neutered state of politics.
Yeah.
At a time where this country, for lack of a better terms, really needs a savior. It really needs a superhero. It really needs a solution. You know what I'm saying? We need the things that we're obviously not gonna get. And where does that leave us? What's gonna happen after voting fatigue? When people get so riled up, their adrenaline gets triggered to a degree that you get so involved in a farce. And then that's over. Then what?
Right.
But you guys on your spiritual journey understand that we don't need nobody to save us. We save ourselves. Like that's the power.
Spiritual journey is saving yourself.
Granted, that's a spiritual journey, you know, and as we can understand that for ourselves and we can translate that to our audience, you know what I'm saying? How do you get in front of the country to explain that to them?
Right.
You know what I mean? That, yeah, we're not going to look for a savior and a politician. If they're campaigning, we should be campaigning in our communities. We should be, you know, doing for self before the quote unquote decision comes out. And what does doing for self look like? I just got a garden. I planted my own food. You know what I'm saying? I clean up my own neighborhood. You know,
gentrify your own hood.
Yeah,
that part.
We have an initiative, and me and Blue are in negotiations about, you know, rolling out this initiative during this election season. The initiative is called F.A.C.T.S. It's an acronym for food, art, clothing, technology, and shelter. And it involves getting with other entrepreneurs around America and across the pond and whatnot who are in these genres or these niches, right? Because food is horticulture, it's agriculture, it's so many things.
Yes.
You know, art encompasses film, music, you know, all things art.
Right.
You know what I mean? Clothing, we're talking we all wear clothes.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, production, things of that nature, right?
Import, export.
Export. It's so much to be dealt with. Super fabrics, right? We have to dispel this spell that they have on our people where they have these carcinogenic materials that they're pushing on our people through Shein and places like Fashion Nova, right? plastics on our skin, on our bodies, this affecting our energy, our auric field, and all kind of things.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that needs to be done on the ground level. I've been researching Cornell West as an alternative, just for someone, just to offset the conversation and to throw somebody in the mix that could be like, yo, why don't you go and check out what he's talking about?
If somebody's talking at me, it's like, all right, am I congruently listening to what's being said? Do I agree with any of it? Is any of it sound like it's for me? Did anybody consider me? So what I've been hearing from Cornell West has been the closest thing. He has a reparations ticket. He's against Cop City.
Right.
You know, and there are a few other, he has a universal minimum wage of $20-something plus dollars. You know, so he has an approach and an angle like he's somewhat anti-corporation, but still has an understanding of the willingness that's needed to work with them.
Yeah.
It's again, it's diversity in the conversation where everything is just not so stiff and stoic when it comes to the red or the blue options, which, you know what I mean?
No pun intended.
No pun
Yeah,
intended.
no
but,
pun intended.
So we can celebrate the fact that last week we saw the gang Red and the Blue come together on stage and unify, right? And go right back to gangbanging with presidential politics.
Yep.
Right.
To be like,
Right.
Civil War. I mean,
Right, all that.
it's crazy where this conversation has taken itself in this campaign year over 2 80-year-old men. But again, that says that there must be a lot of passion that people have when it comes to this country. So specifically, even amongst melanated people and amongst entrepreneurs, like, are we going to wait for them to tell us how to mitigate the migrant situation, right? Or are we going to see them as an available labor force as well and figure some things out? Because here we go. We might be suffering, but you got access to a labor force between migrants and machines.
Right.
There's no excuses we should be making for ourselves as entrepreneurs right now.
Yeah.
Because you have access to the closest thing that looks like free labor.
That part. Yeah. For sure.
For lack of a better term. Because these people just want housing.
Yeah.
Right. And a few dollars.
And a few dollars. I ain't gonna sit here and
Right.
say you ain't gotta pay them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, man,
And for the people that need housing, right? The homeless, okay? The unhoused is what they call them. Sweat equity. Those are labor. That's a labor force. In every city that you go into, that's a labor force.
Yep.
They can build. They can do things. They want housing. So we have we gonna be doing some things, the red and the blue, during this red and the blue season and whatnot, where the whole world would be painted red and blue. So we're gonna tap into that energy, and we're going to bring solutions to our demographics, and we're gonna go state to state.
I think that's
with
real
this
clever.
initiative.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very clever.
And I love how it continues
Campaigning.
to expand. Speaking of, like, I'm wearing one of your merchandise.
Dripping tin.
Like, you
Yeah.
guys talk a lot about, you guys started in the retail space and the apparel space.
Yes.
How can people find you now? What do you have going on in that arena?
Yes. Well, we actually have graduated and launched like a super mall, because one of the things that we've been able to do over the decades is influence others, even with the initiative of F.A.C.T.S. You know what I mean? We were doing lectures in places like Virginia, Boston, Atlanta, Miami over the years, 2015, 16, 17, 18. So brands have sprouted out of that. Jewelry brands, clothing brands, apparel brands, manufacturing, fulfillment centers. So we now have a mall, and we dedicated, or I say livicated, to one of the spaces that was very instrumental in our come up, and that was the Mart 125 in New York City, which was one of the first super malls, black-owned super malls in New York City and probably around the world, right across the street from the Apollo. So we now have a website that is carrying on that legacy, the mart125.com, and it has not only our brand, but multiple other brands that we're carrying, and we're supporting them, and we're pushing that to our people. Online supermall, themark125.com.
Well, I say it's been so powerful because that's one of the things I've been excited to learn from the studio that you have, the music that you write. You continue to be at the forefront of what's next and making a way and routing those for those behind. Like I said, you inspired me. And even knowing and understanding your media background makes me respect you even much more.
Thank you.
Like, it's been great learning that about you. How can people find you guys?
OnlyFans. No.
You gonna have an OnlyFans, and I feel like it's gonna
But
be
they
named something
teaching.
else.
They do teach on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You know,
I ain't gotta say it gotta be
I'm gonna be
left
kinging.
though.
Yeah, I'm gonna be cooking on. I want to
yeah,
take my
Chef
cooking
Pablo.
skills over there. You know what I'm saying? I just might have an apron on, but focus on the food.
Focus on the food.
Focus on the food. I'm still
on the
cooking.
onions. On the onions. I'm on IG. I'm on YouTube. And I'm also real heavy on Patreon. My IG is my government, Phil_Moreland. I didn't want to go with the stage name. I want them to know my name. Moreland. I'm doing this for my name, my last name, Moreland. We need more land.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to take these other migrants or these other illegals, the real illegals, not these people that they trying to tag. I'm talking about the people who came. If you seen the movie Killers of the Flower Moon,
I haven't.
with Leonardo DiCaprio. Heavily recommended. These are illegals that are here that took the resources and took the land, you know what I mean? And took over a lot of things like the electricity and the water rights and all of this stuff. So we want to get them up out of here. So the more land that we speaking of is this Moorish land that was taken from our ancient ancestors and whatnot. So Phil_Moreland on IG, Know the Ledger 44. Know the Ledger 44 on YouTube, and on Patreon, it's Patreon/Red Pillar with an AR, PILLAR, Red Pillar. I've started that in 2017. So there's just a plethora of information going all the way back. You know what I mean? It's just
I love it.
Yes, at Blue Pillar 44, PILLAR. That's on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, X, all of that stuff on Blue Pillar 44. I have a site as well, cosmicdust.com, COZMIKDUST. That's where I have some jewelry, like jewelry in the different fashions that I have available. And I just got a new site. It's called functionalfashions.com, but spelled FUNK, functional fashions. And I have been, compelled to speak to eclectic earthlings that I keep running into everywhere that I go, especially through the city of Atlanta, and people that utilize fashion as an outer expression, as a medium for communication, and people that put that funk back in fashion and just understand the functional aspects of fashion, because I feel that fashion is a part of our storytelling as well. I feel that that's where, you can take things into your own hand. That's where you control your narrative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With your wardrobe. And as I said, that a program, I ain't gonna get into the lecture, but it's that deep. Functionalfashions.com, goldwater.com as well. That's my flagship as well. My mainstay of my product. GOLDEWATER, and that's a health and wellness site with our main product being monatomic gold / colloidal gold. We do both.
Mm-hmm. I actually have some gold water. It's really good.
Hey.
And the music?
Yes.
And the album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Black Cloud.
Is y'all writers
ENT.
heavy with it?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Heavy with it.
got BMI ass kept looking for us right now. You know
Can
what I'm
we
talking
can we get just a sample? It don't have to be too much, but just a little sample.
about? Everyday hustling. Actually, I wrote something last night. Can I say it?
Yeah. Exclusive. This is where you drop the bomb.
Exclusive. It's Twin and I, him and I, Aquim and I. The black gods have returned through Google Gemini. My inner eye got Google mesmerized.
Uh-oh.
My Starlink is linked to Starship Enterprise. I'm finna rise. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm energized. Follow the white rabbits. The sinners live, incentivized to live and lie. Life is a bitch. You niggas been feminized.
I love it. I love it. Do we snap?
A little bit.
Just drop the mic. Drop the mic. That was amazing.
We started sinking quickly in the sand when we got
Yeah.
We started sinking quickly in the sand when we got ran off the land, and we still running from the man and running into stands. You thought running up some bands would make him become a fan? How quickly you throw up your hands instead of throwing your hands and showing the man the boy got y'all in a trance. Avoid being hostile with your mans. Bring the noise and go rock while on the clan. Show them they barking up the wrong tree. Leave them destroyed like Kendrick did to Aubrey. I'll just leave it at that.
Here, I got a BBL verse, man. Rock that. Come on. Haiti fell, and BBL got barbecued, like Dr. Khaled did the Jew on Donahue. Them little girls that are fond of you, heard you take them out on rendezvous. Now they loving the crew. Crody, what's wrong with you? BBL Drizzy came to Atlanta to take off and get his cake off, get his fake off. Castor and Poloff, get his face off. The pastors of Pollock like Bertie Madoff. Heard he try to make off with a Versace corset meant for Offset. They almost beat his brakes off like Mike Tyson did to Jake Paul. Nigga got laid off, he made off, ate off, played off. Don't get it twisted, he had a braid off. I'll leave it right there.
I like that. I like that.
I'll leave it right there.
So, yes, we want to thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful time.
Amazing
being able to share our light and our information and our, some of our backstory. That's always a wonderful, moment for us.
We appreciate you guys.
Definitely.
Jessica.
Yeah, because I was like, I mean, you guys are legends. And like I said, I heard of you well before I got the chance to meet you. And meeting you has only continued to blossom even more and to learn more about y'all. I don't even want to say like and subscribe because it's too many gems dropped in this episode that if you ain't following, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Any final thoughts, Errol?
None at all.
Well, thanks
hit
for
like
tuning
and
in.
subscribe.
Yes.
Put it in your back pocket. Take it home. Make it your own. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And make sure that you keep checking up for the latest drops, right? It don't make sense in subscribing to something if you don't support it and utilize it like it's oxygen.
And I did forget one of our main sites. We got so much stuff going on. KTLUniversity.com. That is very important. That is our online college, our university. This is where our lectures, right? Because we do a lot of things, but the crux of what we do, you know what I mean? When we really come out and show out, you know what I'm saying, is when we do our lectures. Those are all classics. We have classics on top of classics on top of classics, a very affordable price for anybody that wants to grab these lectures. They're all digital and whatnot. KTLUniversity.com. It's spelled the same way that it sounds. No ebonics. KTL stands for Know the Ledge. KTLUniversity.com. Check us out. We actually have a classic that we're about to drop on the 30th with a sister who goes by the name of Vicky Dillard.
Yeah.
And it is entitled When in Rome. Yes, When in Rome / the Jason months, because the Jason months are July, August, September, October, and November. This is when the spirit cookers like to cook. This is when the confusion begins. And this year is instrumental because at the end of the Jason months in November is when they go to vote. So we're going to give you
on the 5th of November.
On the 5th. So we're going to give you a forecast.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a forecast, and the sister Vicky Diller is a prophetess.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be getting into our prophetic bag.
Yes.
The pillar prophecies and the prophetess link up, and we're going to burn down Babylon. Love it.
I love it. I love it. And I love what y'all stand for and your energy. Stay tuned, man. These are guys that you really want to follow. They've been activists in the community for a long time, a lot longer than, like you said, the early 2000s. Y'all been doing it in the 90s and so forth, everywhere you are. Thank you guys for being a guest on our show today.
Thank
We're
you.
so grateful. Thanks for
Shout out
tuning
to, I'm sorry. Shout out to Mama Pill. All right, we didn't mention that. My mother cured AIDS in the 80s. You know what I mean? That's when we was really locked in under the tutelage of Dr. Sebi.
Yeah.
We always have to put that out there because she was the one who showed us that you could do anything that you put your mind to. Shout out to KT, the arts degree, my younger brother too.
That part. All right.
All right. This has been Jessica Myers, your co-host for All Things Entrepreneur.
With your boy Errol J. Allen.
As always, you got it. Let's get it. Let's
go.
go.